Welcome back, Stay Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kinsley. Is Emmanuel Michael, one man you know so well. Good morning to you, Michael, and welcome to Sports Talk.
Beautiful morning to you, Kinsley, and good morning to our viewers out there, and welcome to Sport Talk.
All right, let's quickly start the show with volleyball. As we've seen some interesting matches, of course, coming in from volleyball. Now, Master Warrant Officer Yakubu Zango, head coach of Nigerian Air Force Rockets, is excited following his team's success at the ongoing second phase of the 2023 National Division II Volleyball League in Kaduna State. Zango side recorded 3 wins so far in Kaduna as they continue their quest to play in the Nigerian Division 1 Volleyball League. Now, NAF Rocket defeated Sword VC 3-2 and Oluye Spikers of Ibadan 3-0, and as well as Safety Spikers as well. Now, speaking yesterday, Zango, while expressing confidence in his players' determination to succeed going forward, identified the support from Chief of Air Staff.
In volleyball development over the past couple of 2-3 years down the line, I think quite commendable. You can see how most of the teams that are even plying their trade in the lower division, talking about Division 1, they are putting all their effort to see if they can be able to qualify for, the top flight volleyball competition here in Nigeria. So for me, I think the organizers have been up and doing over the couple of years, and I must commend them. If there's only one particular sport department that we say that they've been able to live up to expectation over the past 1-2 years down the line, and I think the Volleyball Federation is up there. They've been able to, make an impeccable organizational structure for me over the years, and I must also thank the players who are very much dedicated to ensure that they gain promotion into the elite volleyball in Nigeria. So for me, I think it's commendable, and if we continue in this direction, I see Nigeria heading very far when it has to do with volleyball in Africa and the world.
Interesting one, and of course, we should see volleyball in Nigeria, in an impressive height, in the coming years. Because from what we're seeing, the president of the Volleyball Federation, Engineer Nimroyd, I think the man is really on his toes, putting things right when it comes to football. This is just the Division 1 game. I'll be looking forward to see the teams, of course, that will be promoted from this particular one. But was such an impressive outing for NAF Rockets. Of course, they've been unbeaten in their last 3 games, and we hope this impressive feat will possibly take them far as well. Let's talk basketball on the show as D Tigers continue their impressive performance in the ongoing friendly tournament in China with a convincing win over highly rated Serbia. The senior men's basketball team claimed an 81-53 victory over the FIBA World number 6 ranked team to continue their stunning performance at the championship. I think it's been an impressive ride for Nigerian D Tigers, at the tour in China.
Very impressive ride, you must say. But I think this competition, I think it will help them to also, forget the past, because they did not. They actually disappointed a whole lot of Nigerians. Why? Because they have failed to qualify for next year's Olympic Games in France. So for me, I think this invitational tourney will go a whole long way to expose some of the locally based players out there, and for them to also get 1 or 2 experience out there to add to what they have before, so that whenever we are heading for any major tournament, they can truly go back and be able to pick 1 or 2 experience or what they have garnered in this invitational tourney and add to what they have to make sure they take us to the higher height. Because for me, I think basketball in Nigeria over the last 2 years now has not been what it used to be, because of some 1 or 2 challenges. Last time out, we heard about the leadership tussle even in the female department as well, we had that some of them were disbanded just because few of the players came to request for their entitlement, which is their right. They were seen as an attempt to sabotage the organization. They were banished from the team. And before Ren and Wakama came in and tried to assemble one or two players, and with the short preparation we had, they still went out there to do Nigerians proud. And for me, I think the D-Tigers is up and doing, and let's hope they continue in this, improvement, beating the likes of Serbia and even United States of America, who is a powerhouse.
No, this is actually the D Tigers of Nigeria. Um, like I mentioned, it has actually been an impressive ride. Yes, we know that the Tigers, of course, they're putting up an impressive, feat. But you take a look at the way the D Tigers, they've gone, in this China tour. Nobody actually, give them this much opportunity. They were able to beat United States of America. Of course, when you talk about basketball, United States of America, they are number one. They were able to take them down. And now they're taking Serbia, another country that is well known when it comes to basketball, 85 to 53. That's a very good margin. And this is a D Tigers side that failed.
I think, let me just say, if they can continue in this format when we head to any major tournament, I think that would be good. Not just doing quite well in a invitational tourney, and at the end of it all, they still go back to where we used to be. That is just my own concern, but it's quite good to make sure that you beat some of the big teams. They're talking about the United States of America and Serbia. These are powerhouse when you talk about, basketball. And for the D Tigers to beat this powerhouse, it clearly
Tournaments by the organizers in China serve as a morale booster for the players in both the local and from other leagues around the world after returning from the self-imposed ban by the federal government, last year. So I will see how this one, of course, will pan out. But there's been an impressive, progress when it comes to basketball in the country. We've seen the Women Basketball League, of course, is ongoing at the moment. And we haven't really heard much about the Male Basketball League. But from what we've seen, we hope that plans are, in place to make sure that the league, comes back. I think it's been very sad for, I think, about almost a year plus now,
yeah.
and we haven't seen the league, in action. I think it's really, really detrimental, to the growth of the players, the growth of basketball down here in Nigeria. I don't know what you make of the delay of the basketball league down here in Nigeria.
I'm not pretty happy. I'm quite disappointed, to say the least. Players are not up and doing. They are not kicking down. They are not playing. And we want to head for possibly a major tournament against the likes of Senegal or Angola. You know what the implication of that. So for me, I think the league, the basketball authority, they should do the needful make sure that our leagues is up and running. At least we can be able to get one or two players out there and also market, some of our local talent that we have, because we have, great talent cut across all the 36 states, including the federal capital territory. If we can be able to, keep our league up and running, these players can also market themselves, and before you know it, bigger clubs from US and other parts of the world will come for them, and that adds to the improvement of our national teams. But if our leagues is not up and kicking, I think it's a minus. It's a minus for us, and it's a call for serious worry.
Huge setback when it comes to basketball down here in the country because the male league, of course, is not on, and of course, we're looking forward to see how it is. And I think for me, the reason why we're even seeing the female league, being on is as a result of the fact that they have, a sponsor, and that's why, of course, we're seeing the league, are running. But if sponsorship is the case, I think the MBBF should look forward to see if they can actually, get a sponsor. But I don't think, sponsorship is really the problem. First of all, you have to make the league to start first.
Exactly. You have to make the league to start first and make the league attractive, and see that you are any businessman or woman that want to invest his or her money where any businessman or woman that want to invest his or her money where he or she will not maximize profit. So for me, it starts from the organizers of basketball. They should be able to organize the league in a way that it looks more attractive, and sponsors will come. We are talking about their female counterpart they are not lacking sponsorship, and the league is up and running now. You see the innovation that the NPFL board is trying to craft out there. You can see that sponsors are beginning to come in, even without the NPFL approaching them. Why? Because they've seen a good innovation and an improvement. So also our basketball team, we see that there is a good innovation and improvement in the league, and the league is up and doing. You see companies wanting to come and put their money in. So I think it's not all about sponsorship, because if it is all about sponsorship, I think the league would have started by now.
All right, let's quickly step 7-6-6-4 to make the tournament final. 16 Akares is the favorite to take the title in the absence of world number one Novak Djokovic, and is hoping to use his time in China to close the gap on the Serbian at the top of.
I think he knows what is at stake, and that is why he's putting all his effort to make sure that he gets to the final and possibly win this one. And though is the one that is most favored to leave this very one, but in this kind of game, you can never say that one person has more advantage. It boils down to what you are able to put in out there. And knowing quite well that Novak Djokovic is not taking part in this one, I think Carlos Alcaraz will want to, make a very strong statement so that he can be able to rack up the point and add to the point he has, thereby closing the gap on the world number one, talking about Novak Djokovic. So for me, I believe Carlos Alcaraz knows what is at stake, and I believe that he's going to do all his best to make sure he wins this one. But he has a very tough opponent coming after him, talking about
Dimitrov.
Yeah. So for me, I think all is set, and let's just keep our fingers crossed, hoping that he's going to continue in this line of victory, and possibly at the end of it.
Winning this one would definitely, of course, increase his points, and of course, closing the gap when it comes to the world number one sport. So this tournament really means a lot for the man Carlos Alcaraz. The other day he actually came up to say that he's actually down emotionally and mentally, just because of the fact that I think the last was it the U.S. Open that he actually fell short. That he's still suffering from that shock loss, at the U.S. Open. We hope, of course, this one, if he wins this one, I think that will be a little bit of confidence, and as well, puts him in a very good shape when it comes to his mental health as well.
Definitely. You know what victory brings? There's a whole lot of excitement when you go out there to win. And as you are crowned a champion, it adds more, glamour. It brings more smiles to you, and that will douse away a whole lot of tension that he has been passing through because of last performance at Wimbledon. So for me, I think the victory is very, very important for him to be able to reshape his mental condition out there and put
right, let's start with from Akaras as we hear the finals. We heard that ward number 4, Jessica Pegula, like Kokugov, is playing. Is playing at singles and doubles at the WTA finals. And is also missing from the United States team. But we hear that Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan and the Czech duel of Marketa Vondrousova and Karolina Muchova are planning to play both events. Talking about the WTA finals, and Concom was awarded the WTA finals in early September, 4 months after Seville was announced as the host city for the Berlin Jean Cup finals. Now, Saudi Arabia and the Czech Republic had also been in the running to stage the WTA finals, which featured the top 8 singles players and double teams all for the year. Now, the event will conclude in Cancun on Sunday, 5th of November, with the 12 teams Billie Jean Cup finals, beginning in Seville on Tuesday, 7th November as well. So let's see how this one, of course, pans out. We look forward to see the best, of players, coming up in this one. It promises to be an exciting one. But let's start away from tennis as we talk Formula One on the show, as Lewis Hamilton has accepted the blame for a collision with Mercedes teammate George Russell at the start of the Qatar Grand Prix. Hamilton, who was trying to overtake Russell and race leader Max Verstappen around the outside, said, and I quote, said, "I have watched the replay and it was 100% my fault." Hamilton taking the blame for the collision between him and George Russell at the Qatar Grand Prix.
Good for him to take the blame. I think listening to him a few hours ago, and he said that he had to go back to the clips and watch some of the clips, and then he discovered that he was actually at fault. Therefore, he take the blame, taking responsibility. I think it's a good one for him to come up plain to admit that he was actually at fault and not the other way around. And for me, I think it also goes a whole long way to tell you the disappointment of this season for Hamilton, who has not been able to make any strong statement at the making a podium finish is one thing that we expect to see of Lewis Hamilton. But this season, with Hamilton and Mercedes, there seems to be a problem with them, and again, this highlighted the height of the problem when he collided with his teammate, talking about George Russell. So for me, I think this is what professionalism is all about: coming to admit when you are wrong and taking the blame instead of trying to shift blame to someone else. So for me, I think it's good for him. If he can be able to learn from this mistake, I think it will help him going forward.
Hamilton, of course, taking the blame after colliding with his teammate George Russell at the Qatar Grand Prix. Since talking about Formula One, the FIA says that it will look into calendar changes and other measures in Formula One to deal with extreme weather following the Qatar Grand Prix. Some drivers needed medical attention after a race run temperature for more than 30 degrees Celsius and high humidity. Upon driver Esteban Ocon, he had omitted in his helmet. And Mercedes driver George Russell called the Qatar Grand Prix brutal and said he felt closer to fainting. While Williams driver Logan Sargent see this note to be savage?
I think it's very dangerous out there, and there is need for the Formula One authority to do something about it. And we listened to about four or five, drivers, lodging of lanes complaint, and it's very clear. Operating in a 30 degrees centigrade and with a high altitude, I mean, you know what it means out there, just like you said earlier on. And for me, I think it's quite dangerous for some of these drivers out, and there is need for the authority to look at the calendar to check. If actually take a look at the weather condition and see that it is not favorable, then there is need for them to straighten the car so that we will be able to align or accommodate, these drivers as well. Because one thing first that we should think about is about safety. Safety first, because if you are alive before you can be able to drive either Mercedes or Alonso or whatever. So for me, I think the authority need to take a drastic step as we are talking right now. So make sure they address all of these challenges. Just take Nigeria for example. If you hear some weather reports in the north, there we are talking about 32 degrees centigrade, sometimes 3 degrees centigrade. And if you actually get to the north, you discover that the heat there alone can lose your mental health. I'm talking about Qatar. We know that majorly it was a desert before turning it to what it is today. Just imagine how heated the place would be, right now. So there's need for the FIA authority or Formula One authority to look into the calendars of those races and try to fix it in a way that they're able to suit some of these all these drivers, because like I said, safety first before any other thing.
And the Qatar is very, very hot. As I tell you, if you remember the FIFA World Cup, last time, the stadiums, we saw AC were being installed in some of the stadiums to make sure that people do not feel this heat. And I think in this situation, when it comes to Formula One, just like you mentioned, trying to know the time where the weather is a bit fair would be very, very important. That's why just the calendar and let what comes up. Right, so still talking about Formula One here. That Formula One President Mohammed Ben Salman wants more teams and fewer races. Formula One should have more teams and fewer races, according to FI President Mohammed Ben Sulayem. The Emirates comes in the contest for the US-based organization be to enter Formula One, as well as an expanding global schedule of a Grand Prix, which is set to reach a record 24 on the season. Commercial rights holder from one will have the final call over whether to admit Andretti and Ben Sulayem appeal to warn against any deviance of the FIA approval. Ben Sulayem pointed out that Formula One's rules allow for up to 12 teams, and that sports would benefit from new car manufacturers, otherwise known as original equipment manufacturers. All right, so at this point, we'll take a short break, and when we'll come back from this break, we'll dive straight into the beautiful world of football. A lot, of course, to talk let's talk about the Nigerian Premier Football League. Niger Tornadoes, of course, the players they've just been motivated by the chairman for the side. We'll talk about that when we'll come back from this short break. Please stay with us. Welcome back, to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network, and of course, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the water sport this moment. Let's talk football on the show as players of Niger Tornadoes. Of course, we hear that the Niger Tornadoes chairman Ibrahim Dada has compensated his players with 500,000 naira for their victory against Rivers United. Dada said the gesture is to boost the players' morale ahead of subsequent matches in the Nigerian Premier Football League. What do you make of this gesture from the chairman of the team, talking about Niger Tornadoes? 500,000 naira, though somebody might say it's too small, but I think just to motivate the players for subsequent matches.
I think it's a nice move in an attempt to motivate the players. After beating Rivers United, one of the top teams in NPFL, beating them in their first game, I think it's a good motivation for them, Niger Tornadoes. I believe we know what the economic situation that we find. We know what the economic situation that we find ourselves as we stand right now. And 500,000 is a big money. It's a huge money this time around to motivate some of the players to give out their best. So I think it's a good move in the right direction.
All right, still talking about football down here in Nigeria, the chairman, we hear that the sports minister, Senator John Wanino, has congratulated the deaf team. We heard the chairman was among hundreds of spectators at talking about the Nigerian Premier Football League, as we was taking a look at Niger Tornadoes. And from what we've seen, that the chairman of the team, he has actually done a whole lot for him, and he was there, in that particular encounter to cheer them up. And we hope that this, of course, will actually motivate the player, just like Michael said, to go a long way, making sure that things, get better. But let's move on to the other story we have for you this moment, as we hear that. The Minister of Sports, Senator John Owaneno, has actually hailed the team, hailed the deaf team for their outing as they made Nigeria proud. Nigeria was the first time, but added that sports remains the greatest tool for social inclusion, with its ability to engender diversity, equity, and inclusion in the society. The president of the Deaf Sports Federation, Haji Suleiman Saka, thanked the minister for receiving the team, as it was the first time of being accorded such honor in spite of their past achievements at the continental and global level. Nigeria ranked 11th out of 25 countries at the games after surpassing the group stages. The Deaf Eagles exited the championship gallantly after losing 2-0 to Ukraine in the round of 16. We saw the Deaf Eagles of Nigeria, of course, putting up some impressive performance. It's been a very long time since we actually saw them in action, and getting to this particular championship, for the first time, coming back with the level of performance going forward.
Yeah, I think so, because having a new sport minister and one who is ready to look at all, sport development, and not just limiting it to football alone. He has been going around, all sport, areas to make sure that he is able to beef up the confidence of different sports in different sectors as well. And for me, I think it's a good gesture to ensure that he identify himself with what the deaf, players or the deaf Eagles were able to do out there, because over the years, most at times, some of these sports, we tend to relegate them at the background. Nobody hears about them. You don't encourage them. No motivation. What we just hear is about Super Eagles or Super Falcons, and we really.
Striker Rinsola Babajide is cited after she was handed her first invitation to the Super Falcons squad. The 35-year-old, who was born to Nigerian parents in London, was named in around the Wardrobe squad to face Ethiopia in the second round qualifier for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games women football event. Another foreign player, added to the Super Falcons of Nigeria.
Great addition, you want to say, but we should be doing more better than this by catching them young, because I understand she has played for English under 19, under 20, and under 21 as well.
She hasn't played for Liverpool women team.
Yeah, before she had decided to pick up her. Her father's land, talking about Nigeria here. So for me, I think there's need for us to catch them young at the early stage. I think it will be more better other than leaving them when they see that it's become difficult for them to, break into the first team of the foreign countries to which they decide to represent. They just look at Nigeria as maybe possibly that nearest option to which they can also come and get their dream achieved. So for me, I think that is the area I'm not too satisfied. So some of these Nigerian-born players, representing other countries, but there's need for us to include at least 3 or 4 home-based players in this kind of thing, so that you give them hope as well. Because the truth remains that if you don't go to different local leagues, you cannot be able to know that there are some good players here. There are some good talent here in the local leagues that even they can do more better compared to their counterpart who ply their trade in Europe out there. But if you don't give that person that opportunity, that platform to express his or her, her talent, I mean, you just think, the local leagues here doesn't have anything to offer. But then again, I think Randy Wardrop should not just sit over there and, able to select all these foreign-based players. He should also come down to Nigeria, sit